2, ready, and number 1. And Aki, my PGT is off, and standards 3, 4, and 5. After a full test, the EDS did not come out.
Copy all, Mark, thanks.
And EDS number 1, 0.13 turns, 25.6 pounds, and green light.
Copy, Nemo, reset caller and retrigger.
Okay. Hello, is a reset. One more time, number 1. I got 0.16 turns, 25.4 pounds, and green light.
All good, EDS. Great job, guys. So on Nemo's side, you can pull each EDF lanyard, verify the EDFs cannot be retracted. And Mark, we see you doing it already, but you can take pictures and the WVS survey.
Okay, I got the pictures already. Did get a WVS survey get good enough yet?
We are good with that, thank you.
So with the bolts driven, they're going to just make sure that all the bolts are in place, and with their wireless video systems attached to their helmets, do a quick survey to make sure there is no debris or anything that could harm the way that it's secured onto the POA on the mobile base system.
I am installing PGT now.
Copy.
And carry checking. Actually, I might be jumping the gun a bit, but the Velcro is all on Nemo's side from here.
Okay,
do you want me to stay here until he's done, or do you want me to start backing off?
Stand by.
The EDF checked, and it's not retracted. And the clamshell is covered everything.
Copy. Stand by 1.
It's good. Nice work, Nemo.
All right, understand we got the clamshell MLIs completed. So, Mark, you can maneuver away to the pull-up backup position. We'll get a glove and half check on the way. And then for Nemo, we'll get the mate-demate mechanism next.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Oh, yeah. Thank you so much. All right, Baker and Joe, I'm ready for the correction, the maneuver to back off position.
All right, man, we got you. This is a maneuver to the POA back off. It'll be a 2-step maneuver. We'll let you know before we start.
All right, come back to you, Nemo and Aki.
Copy.
Hey.
With his bolts driven and survey completed to make sure that every bolt is secure for the new home of the latching end effector, Mark Vandehei is done with this task. He's communicating with Joe Akaba and Scott Tingle on the inside of the space station at the hands of the controls for the robotic arm, starting the position to back away from his workspace and start looking towards the future for upcoming tasks. In the meantime, Norshige Kanai remains there, doing the final securing of the latching end effector to the mobile base system with the mate-demate mechanism.
Okay. Alpha 4. The contact clockwise 3, correct?
Negative. Alpha 4, clockwise 3.
Clockwise 3, thank you. Ready.
All right. About.
Turn to hard stop, correct?
That is correct. You have it memorized, and the sunset is coming up.
Got it. Measure that. 1, 2, 3.
Mark, we'll get a glove and half check from you.
Oh, thank you for that reminder.
Norishige Kanai wrapping up the final installation of the latching end effector to the mobile base system with this mate mechanism that requires many turns, about 35, until it's securely fastened to that position. In the meantime, here's Mark Vandehei on the end of the station's robotic arm. You could tell from the red stripes on his thighs of the suit, just kind of hanging out right now. He's taken a couple photos of himself with the Earth at his back as the International Space Station enters an orbital sunset. The space station now 251 statute miles over the Indian Ocean, just south of India.
Nemo, could you repeat the torque?
Point to 1.
Copy. Good numbers, Nemo. Thank you very much. You can take. And if you can do a WVS survey and make sure that the covers are installed. After that, you can do a glove and half check.
Okay.
And Nemo, WVS survey looks good.
These. Okay.
The final mate-demate mechanism that secures the latching end effector into place has been driven. He did a final survey with his wireless video system on his helmet. Everything's looking good. With that, he'll do a final glove and hat check. This will happen periodically throughout today's extravehicular activity spacewalk, basically to make sure there are no scuff marks on the gloves and that the helmet absorption pad is dry and there's the coolant inside the spacesuit to keep the astronauts at a regulated temperature as they encounter plus 200 degrees Fahrenheit during the sun and negative 200 in the shade. That everything is regulated and not leaking into the helmet.
All right, Nemo, next is the CLA install. Again, warning for you, CLA lens, light, and mating surface. Avoid contact with those.
I will do my best.
And gentlemen, just a big picture. We are doing actually great on time. So the plan is, Mark, for you to do the lead loop after you tear down the SSR miss.
Hey. All right, sounds good. Outstanding. Thanks for the heads up.
Aki Hoshide, the ground IV, communicating with our astronauts, currently spacewalking right now. The astronauts are way ahead of schedule. They are wrapping up their procedures just over an hour beyond the timeline. Norishige Kanai still at the workstation. Earlier today, he removed a camera light assembly from Lee A that was stored on the mobile base system and was moved into the airlock. Now he's going to install that camera light assembly onto this new, onto the new position of the latching end effector that's on the mobile base system. While he does that, Mark Vandehei will maneuver down to get into position to get off of the station's robotic arm and take the portable foot restraint that he's been riding throughout the duration of this EVA, take that off, and begin one of the get-ahead tasks since they're so ahead of the schedule. That task is to basically grease some of the components on the inside of the latching end effector. This is a regular maintenance task that we've encountered through many extravehicular activities in the past to maintain the quality of the latching end effectors, especially these fresh ones. As Jason Dyer described earlier today, as he came on console with me to talk about some of the activities with latching end effectors, this is a normal procedure to maintain the quality of those latching end effectors. So Mark Van High riding the station's robotic arm now to get off, while Norishige Kanai continues to install that camera light assembly onto the spare.
Mark, just watch the back of your place.
Copy. Behind there.
Just the robotic arm.
Oh, just that. Hey, CNA, what's the duct?
Here in Mission Control, Houston, the flight control team's monitoring today's EVA, today's spacewalk. Leading the teams here in the room is Zeb Scoville, flight director. The ground IV communicates with our astronauts outside, performing the maintenance task of moving some of the latching end effectors around the station and bringing an old latching end effector inside to eventually go down to Earth, as Jason Dyer, Deputy Liaison Manager of the Canadian Space Agency, described earlier today. We're handing over communications with our tracking and data, relay satellites, regaining communication, audio and visual with the International Space Station and our spacewalking astronauts here shortly.
EV2.
Yeah, sorry, we're at a handover just now. So Nemo, next for you is a PGT setting, Bravo 1, clockwise 2.
Bravo 1, clockwise 2, set.
We're going to install the structural bolt, that's the one without the tether point, 15 to 20 turns to a hard stop.
Structural. How many turns?
15 to 20 turns to a hard stop.
Okay, 15 to 20.
Mark, we're ready for your go for the APFR egress position.
And Aki, if you don't mind me taking the comm, I'll do the GCA.
You have the comm.
Okay, let's do the GCA to, or actually, Nemo, you got any comm you need with the round? No, I'm good. Okay, Joe, let's do the GCA to the published APFR egress position.
Okay, you got it. We'll get into mode, let you know before we start, and it's just going to be a station aft maneuver.
From this view, Norishige Kanai continues to work to install the camera light assembly onto the spare latching end effector that was just recently secured onto the mobile base system. This will provide visual and light for future operations while it remains in its spare part configuration that's on the mobile base system. Meanwhile, Mark Van High heading towards his what's called egress position. Basically, he's been on the portable foot restraint of the station's robotic arm through most of today's spacewalk. He's now getting into position to get out of that foot restraint, take the foot restraint off of the station's robotic arm, and start the get-ahead tasks. The spacewalking astronauts ahead of the schedule and able to perform what will be referred to as Lee Lube, basically greasing the inside of the latching end effector that Mark Vande Hei is currently riding.
Mark, we're at the published.
Okay, I can take it from here. Okay, complete.
PCA complete.
Here's on your go before egress APS4.
Brakes are on. You have a go for egress.
Thank you.
Copy. You can egress the APFR and then perform a safety tether swap.
Copy, thank you.
So now Mark Vande Hei is in position, switching his tethers over to his egress position, basically getting out of the foot restraint, as you have seen he just did pretty easily, actually. Now he'll make sure he's secured with those tethers, turn around, and take the portable foot restraint off of the station's robotic arm.
Yeah, EVA task is watching out for you.
Okay, Exxon, double check. Double one. Clockwise 2. Structural boat first.
Yep, structural bolt first. That's the one without the tether point. And Bravo 1, clockwise 2.
Okay, I got structural photo in 18.8 and 12.1 pound green light.
Stand by. Nemo, we're good with those numbers. We'll move on to the demate bolt. Again, same PGT setting, Bravo 1, clockwise 2, 15 to 20 turns to a hard stop.
Roger that. And the correction for the turn, it's 18.53.
Copy, 18.53 turns. Thank you.
Moving Make a demake.
Concur.
Okay, I have 18.13 turns, 12.4 pounds, green light.
Copy, good numbers. Check that the indicator button is in.
I will check it. Okay, I see two indicators both in.
Copy, nice job. You can turn off your PGT and stow it on your swing arm.
Copy. No.
And once you get the PGT on your swing arm, you can remove the scoop and stow it in your medium or U bag.
So with that, Norishige Kanai has successfully installed the camera light assembly onto the latching end effector that has been recently moved over to its new home on the mobile base system.
And the reels are unlocked. I'm just getting back to SP2 from the arm. Getting in position for the
Now Kanai will clean up his workspace, taking off the scoop that helped him to handle the installation of the camera light assembly.
We're going to do the Lee lube. So once you remove the APFR, it's going to go in with 5, and I'll get you settings when we get there.
Meanwhile, Mark Vandenhei is taking the portable foot restraint off of the station's robotic arm and putting it back in its place on the external stowage platform. This gives him plenty of time to go back to the airlock and start getting some tools for the Lee lube activity, which is basically greasing the latching end effector that Mark Vandenhei has been riding through the duration of today's EVA.
Zenith, about 1.6 meters.
copy. Or GCA.
Arms coming in motion.
Motion.
Mark, the ingress aid looks good.
It does. Yep.
Joe Akaba inside the International Space Station with Scott Tingle using the station's robotic arm to get the arm a little bit closer to Mark Vandenhei so he can get a good handle on that portable foot restraint and get it off the station's robotic arm.
$30.
You can stop motion right there.
Okay, motion stop.
And I'll stand by for your go before I do the APFR retrieval.
Okay, we copy that. GCA is complete. Brakes are on, and you have a go for APFR retrieval.
There you go, thanks. Houston, I have a report for the medium or U-back inventory.
Go ahead. Yeah, Nemo, we're ready.
Yeah, I have a small wreck attached to the scoop. I have another small, actually the 16 small attached to the ratchet with 2 inch. And I have long duration tie down feather directly attached inside the hook. And I have 15 small to the grounding strap.
Copy all. That's all great inventory.
All right, so now I'm going to sleep back on my BRT.
That's good words. You can store it on your BRT, head back to, actually, we're going to go, have you go to ESP2, so retrieve your green hook and make sure you press the port seat cart brake pedals twice.
Okay, and with back, correct?
Say again, Nemo.
I have going to ESP2 with medium ORU back, my BRT.
That is correct.
Okay.
So Nemo, big